Hi, this is Rachel Goclawski, Cooking with Mrs. G, and I am here with another wild edible, and it is called pokeweed. This is a plant that you may not notice until it starts getting berries on it, and it has like a bunch of berries on a bract, and some people mistake them for grapes. They are very dark purple, and so some people think that they're black cherry. Black cherry does have a bunch of cherries on a bract, but this is a plant, not a tree. Black cherry is a tree, so it has bark, and pokeweed is a plant, and this is a poisonous plant when it has berries on it. But at this time of the year, this is the end of May, beginning of June, you can eat it as a shoot. You have to cook it, so it's poisonous if you don't cook it, but it is edible as a shoot as long as you cook it. So let's take a look. Okay, here are some pokeweed shoots. When they first start to come up, they look like this. And you can see that when they're really young like this, the stalk is entirely green. But then, as they start to get taller and more mature, if they're in the sun, they'll start to turn red toward the base. Okay, so sometimes if they don't get any sun, they'll be green all the time. But once they start branching, okay, once they, the leaves stop clasping and then they create branches, they are no longer collectible for an edible. But at this point, when you see there's no actual branching going on, there's just leaves, and the stalk is all green, and it's a foot tall or less, this is a really good time to collect these shoots. So let's take a look over here at this one. Okay, here you see that the leaves have completely unfurled. They're no longer clasping. Let's take a look at the stem here. Okay, this area does get some sun, but we still don't have any redness. Okay, when you cut these, I pulled this up for you so you could see how it's turning pink. It's almost like the plant is alerting you that it's becoming poisonous. This will get redder and redder and redder as this shoot matures and starts branching out. This entire bottom of the stalk will be red. It's as if it's saying, don't pick me, I'm poisonous, okay? But when you cut these shoots, you want to cut them a couple inches above the soil. So if I was to cut this shoot, I would cut it about here, because I'm not going to eat this part down here, okay? So I cut this shoot right about here. And again, even though these leaves are not clasping anymore, it's not branching yet. They're just leaves. They're not creating branches, and they're not creating flowers yet. So I can cook this as an edible. Again, we can't eat it raw, but we can cook it. So when I go into the kitchen, I'm going to boil some water, and then I'll put this in the boiling water for at least 5 minutes, and then give it a taste and see if it's still bitter. If it isn't bitter anymore, then I can take it out, strain it, and use it to cook it into omelets, quiches, casseroles. It's a great just versatile vegetable. It's like a mild asparagus in flavor, and it's great for the lymphatic system. So if your lymph nodes need some tuning up, this is a great vegetable to fill up on. Again, make sure that you've cooked all the bitterness out of it. Boiling these pokeweed greens for 5 to 7 minutes, and after the 5 to 7 minutes, I'm going to give a little taste. Probably what I'll do is I'll look for the thickest stem. Give the thickest stem a little taste. If it's still bitter, what I'll need to do is pour out the water and start with fresh water and boil it. Bring it to a boil again, and then boil these guys for another few minutes until the bitterness goes away, and then they will be considered fully cooked, and I will be able to chop them up and put them in an omelet or a quiche or a casserole, or fry them. You know, a traditional way to eat pokeweed is to batter it and fry it, or fry it up with some onions and things and spices, and nutmeg is a good spice for pokeweed. So after 7 minutes, I discarded the water. I poured it through the colander and into the drain. You do not want to keep the water from boiling pokeweed. You want to discard that water. And then I will be chopping this up and adding it to an omelet with a little nutmeg and other spices, a little onion, little garlic. It'll make a great omelet. So again, this is Rachel Goclawski, Cooking with Mrs. G. Don't forget to hit subscribe to get the next video. Again, I'm Cooking with Mrs. G, and you can find me on Etsy, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Happy foraging!